So hello everybody and welcome here up at BSN Network. Today is Friday, May 27th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. Coming off another big night last night in the world of sports. It is in fact Memorial Day weekend. We are getting into Memorial Day weekend starting up today, obviously through Monday. Monday is Memorial Day, so got a very fun weekend ahead. Got a lot of sports on this weekend. Got a lot of exciting baseball on. There's some more hockey on, as we all know. NBA continues to roll tonight. You got the Celtics and the Heat, and the Warriors have officially punched their ticket to the NBA Finals. So we'll see what they can do against the winner of the Celtics and Heat. Celtics tonight look to win it at home, move on to the NBA Finals. That's what they're looking for, and if they could do that, well, then you're looking at a Celtics-Warriors NBA Finals, which is going to be a fun one. So I got to look out for that. Ranger game was last night. It was a tough one for sure. It was ugly. It was not what we wanted, not what we expected, not really what we envisioned, I guess. I guess to a certain extent, I think all of us Ranger fans are kind of in the boat of, we saw what took place on Tuesday where we played great. We saw what happened on last Sunday where we played great. We outscored the Hurricanes at home by a score of 7-1. Or 7-2, and we played great. We were shooting the puck well. We were scoring goals. We were doing everything we needed to do in those two games at home. And then yesterday we come out flat. We don't get many chances. We just don't shoot the puck much. We have a lot of turnovers, shorthanded goals, and we just didn't play well. And to be honest, this Carolina Hurricanes team is a completely different hockey team. So series is now 3-2 in the Hurricanes' favor. We'll be back in action tomorrow night at the Garden. Got to look to win that one. You win that one, then you set up a Game 7 on Monday at Carolina, at Carolina, in North Carolina, at PNC Arena, where that place is going to be going wild. If you get to that point, well, then you just put it all out there on the line. And that's really where we're at here with the New York Rangers. So, Yankees also got the win last night. They won 7-2. Nasty Nestor was great yet again. Give this guy the Cy Young. If this guy keeps it up, what he is doing, there's no debating he is the Cy Young winner. So, he's been great. Last night, he pitched another stellar game. It was just awesome. It was an awesome performance. It was a great game. Great win for the New York Yankees as they improve to 32-13 on the season and take game 1 of the 4-game set down in Tampa against the Rays. Mets had a day off today. Today, they're up against the Phillies to start up a 3-game set at home at Citi Field against the Phillies Friday into Sunday. Sunday will be the Sunday Night Baseball game on ESPN, so that should be a good one there. And, it's going to be a very exciting weekend, Memorial Day weekend. A lot of sports, a lot of excitement. I always feel like Memorial Day weekend's always like kind of the kickoff to summer, as WFAN Today radio show is doing their kickoff to summer down the shore in New Jersey. So this is kind of the kickoff to summer. This is kind of like, getting ready, Memorial Day weekend, boom. You're getting closer to June. You're getting closer to the summer months. Summer is so, super pumped up for summer as it gets nearer and closer and all that good stuff. So let's get to the topics for today's podcast. We got 2 topics today. I am able to get a podcast in today, so we got 2 to get to. We're going to start off with the Rangers and Hurricanes. We're going to recap last night's game. We're going to talk about it. We're going to tell you what happened, kind of give you my thoughts, and talk about the 2 must-wins. You got tomorrow's game. Saturday is a must-win at home, and then Monday night's game will be another must-win. So that's the reality. That's where we stand here. 2 must-wins for the Rangers. They're down 3-2 in the series. If you win tomorrow, well, you get a Game 7, and it's not on your home ice. You're going to have to go into PNC Arena, and you're going to have to play well there. So big game tomorrow night. We'll see what the Rangers can do. Got to bounce back, but we'll recap the game and kind of where the series stands right now and what the Rangers need to do if they want to win these next 2 games and move on to play the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then we'll get to the Yankees and the Mets update. I've talked a lot about the Yankees, haven't touched much upon the Mets. We're going to talk about both teams. Both teams are winning. Yankees got the win last night. Mets did drop 2 out of 3 in San Francisco against the Giants. So they'll look to get it back on the series win streak. They'll look to start up a new series win streak starting tonight at Citi Field, back at home against Philly, which will be the start of 3 games there, Friday through Sunday. Yankees are game 2 tonight against Tampa. That will all correlate into my New York sports update as well. Yankees, Tampa tonight, game 2 of the 4-game set. Yankees, if they win tonight, well, then you just need to find a way to win Saturday or Sunday, and you win the series, and that's big. You go down in Tampa with a lineup that we're rolling out right now, which is a lot of injuries. You beat them, that's big. So, and then you got the Angels coming up, which is going to be another big one. Then you have the, Tigers, then you have Cubs, and you kind of have some teams maybe, after this. This is kind of a tough stretch in the schedule. It's a tough 7 games, and after this, it gets the Tigers and the Cubs and some teams that are struggling. So, maybe a little bit more of a favorable matchup there. But, yeah, a lot to get to today in the podcast. With all that being said, this is BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. So, last night was the Rangers-Hurricanes game. Game 5 was last night. Hurricanes won 3-1. Now, as you all know, Game 4, the Rangers took the win 4-1 on Tuesday. It was a great performance, great win. Just played great. Rangers stepped up big time. Scored 4 goals against a Hurricanes team that is very good defensively. They played great on Tuesday night at home at the Garden. And then you go to, last night, and the Rangers just flat out looked terrible. They looked like they did in games 1 and 2, where they lost 2-1 and 2-0. And last night, yet again, Rangers not getting any chances on net, not getting any shots on net, not getting any high-quality chances. The Rangers had 17 shots on goal. 17 shots on goal the Rangers had, and the Hurricanes had 34. 17 shots on goal for the New York Rangers, and that's just not going to win you hockey games. And last night, yet again, what we saw in games 1 and 2 were a lot of physicality, a lot by the Hurricanes, a lot less physicality by the Rangers. Rangers not being able to get the puck out of the neutral zone. Rangers got the puck in the neutral zone, cleared it in, and boom, they're back on defense. Not clearing the puck on defense, terrible power play, turning the puck over in the neutral zone. And yet again last night, the Rangers just looked completely lost on the road. And what's so weird is that you would think, and this Hurricanes team, you got to give credit, because the Rangers did not play good last night. But the Hurricanes are just unstoppable. The Hurricanes at home, it's unbelievable what they've done. They're 7-0 at home, and they're 0-6 on the road. That's crazy. Or 0-5 on the road. They're 7-0 at home. They won 4-0 in the first round series against the Bruins, and they're 3-0 so far. 7-0 on the road. They lost all 3 games on the road, at home, rather. They lost all 3 games on the road against the Bruins, and they've lost all 2 games on the road here against the Rangers. So they're 0-7 on the road, or 7-0 at home, and 0-5 on the road. And if the Rangers win tomorrow night, they'll be 0-6 on the road. So something about this Hurricanes team. They don't win on the road, but when they're at home, they are a completely different hockey team. And I guess the same could kind of be said for the Rangers to a certain extent, although the Rangers did go into Pittsburgh and dominated Game 6. They were down 3-1 in the series, went into Pittsburgh, had a great game, played very well, obviously then won Game 7 on their home ice, and have moved on, obviously, to where we are now, where we get ready for Game 6 tomorrow night against the Hurricanes. But the Rangers did not, they didn't look good. They didn't look good against the Penguins in Games 3 and 4 on the road, but they looked very good in Game 6. But in this series, Games 1 and 2 looked awful. Then Games 3 and 4, the Rangers were phenomenal. Phenomenal on all facets of the game. Limited the turnovers, were very physical, set the tone early, shooting, getting shots on goal, getting high-quality chances, doing well on the power play, very good penalty kill, which, by the way, penalty kill really hasn't been a problem in this series, although they did let up a power play goal last night. The big issue has been the power play, and especially on the road. Last night, the power play was non-existent, and the power play was non-existent in Games 1 and 2. So, you win Games 3 and 4, and they put all the pressure on Carolina last night to win. Because if Carolina lost last night, well, that's the series. I would have if Carolina lost last night, I would put money on it that the Rangers would have won the series Game 6. Because Carolina is not the same team at home. They are not the same team, or rather, they're not the same team on the road. They're not even close to it. They're a completely different hockey team on the road than they are at home. And if the Rangers would have won last night, I would have put money on it that the Rangers would have won the series. Now, the Rangers got to win tomorrow, and they got to win Game 7, which would be on Monday if they win tomorrow. And it starts with tomorrow. You got to defend home ice, which the Rangers have done a good job so far this season of doing that, especially during the postseason here. So far in the postseason, they're 5-1 on home ice. So they were obviously 3-1 in the first series, and they're 2-0 so far here. So they've had 6 games on home ice. They're 5-1. So they've defended home ice very well. If they can do that tomorrow night, well, then you put a Game 7 in on Monday on the road, and you're going to have to find a way to be better, because what we saw last night yet again was a team that was turning the puck over way too much, not being physical enough, not getting any chances in our offensive zone. I mean, geez, Carolina was meeting us in the neutral zone. They were taking the pucks from us. We were having to clear it in our own zone. We were having to, pass it kind of up ice, doing these little, these soft saucer passes up ice. Then we maybe get 2 guys into their zone, and then they got like 4, and they rush out, boom, and then there they go, back in our zone. We're not clearing the puck enough. We're not getting the puck out of our own zone. We're not getting these odd man rushes that we were getting at home. We did not do that last night. At home, we were getting those odd man rushes. We were breaking out quickly. We were getting 2-on-1s. We were getting 3-on-2s. We were getting 3-on-3s with space, 2-on-2s with space. We were getting, 3-on-3s with a man right behind the play that could take it and do a lot of stuff with the puck, right? We were not getting those chances last night. And the Carolina Hurricanes forecheck was just on another level last night. And the Rangers just could not handle it. So, just terrible. It was terrible last night. 17 shots on goal was awful. And it's so frustrating as a fan, because it's like you look so good at home, and then you just go on the road, and this Hurricanes team is just unbelievable. They are just unbelievable at home. It's insane how good they are at home. I don't think I've ever seen a team this good at home. They are 6-0 at home. 7-0, rather. 7-0 at home this postseason. But they have not won a road game. So the Rangers have the advantage at home on tomorrow night. But what the Rangers got to do tomorrow night is you got to come out, you got to put it all out there. And the Rangers have been in this situation, right? They've been in this situation, right? They got the job done against the Penguins. They got the job done, so far the 2 games in this series when they had their backs against the wall down 2-0. They were able to get the job done in both those games. So I actually do feel confident going into tomorrow night's game. It's all about Monday now. Because now if you win tomorrow night's game, you got to find a way to go into Carolina and just get the job done. Even if it's just a 2-1 win, just get the job done and move on from the series, because something about us in Carolina, something about Boston in Carolina, something about teams playing in Carolina, it just has not mixed well in this postseason. Boston, they saw that. Boston couldn't win a game on the road. That was their issue. When a team has home ice, you can't win a game on the road. That's the big issue. And now you really wonder to yourself, like, if the Rangers would have won the Metropolitan and now play the Hurricanes, you really wonder how this series could be different. Because with the Carolina Hurricanes not being able to win a game on the road, you really wonder if this series would have been different. Because Carolina obviously would have played the Penguins. They would have had the home ice, so they probably would have won that series. And right now, we'd be looking at a 7-game series where the Rangers have home ice, and you'd really wonder if it would to get into a 7-game series, Rangers would probably win. So I'm not going to play that what-if game, but, I just hit my knee into the table. All I know is my pop heads are flying all over the place. All I know is this, is with the Rangers, they got to come out with a lot of energy tomorrow. They got to come out, they got to battle, they got to fight. You got to come out with a lot of energy, tenacity, competitiveness. They've shown it. They've shown it. No quit in New York. They've shown that all postseason long. So tomorrow night, they got to do what they did in games 3 and 4. Control the puck, get shots on net, get good chances, take advantage of the good chances, and most of all, score goals. One goal against a team with the offensive firepower that they have is not going to do it, and you can't turn the puck over, and you got to take advantage of the power play. Rangers did not do that last night. We'll see if they can do it tomorrow night. That's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, and then Monday as well, if necessary. Game 7 will be on Monday. It would be at 8 p.m. Network looks like not yet decided. So we'll see how that plays out. But Igor has done his job. Igor did his job last night. When your offense doesn't get you any goals, it's gonna hurt. So the Rangers have to find a way to bounce back and get the win tomorrow. If you get the win tomorrow night, well, then you just put everything out there on the line for Game 7 and just find a way to win on the road. But tomorrow night, focus is there. Rangers have been good at home. Like I said, I actually do feel pretty confident. Last night I was very frustrated, especially with the Strome goal. It was a great goal. We take a 2-1 lead. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Maybe we could steal this game because we weren't playing well. We scored the goal, and it's like, wow, we just stole one from them. And it ended up being offsides, which, by the way, I agree with the call. It was clearly offsides. It was offsides by a whole country mile. No doubt about that. But it was just frustrating because it's like, we score a goal, and if we take that 2-1 lead, you're thinking to yourself, like, oh my gosh, we're winning this game, and Carolina has outplayed us in almost every facet of the game. And, you really think to yourself, like, if the Rangers could have just played a little bit better, if Capo didn't miss that open net in Game 1, Rangers right now, it could be a different series. So I'm not going to play the what-if game, but just last night's game just really was frustrating because it was just what we saw in Game 1 and 2 was like there was no adjustments. So Rangers backs against the wall again. For a young team easing into the playoffs, if they win tomorrow night, they find themselves in back-to-back 7-game series. So we'll see what they can do tomorrow night back at the Garden. Like I said, I do feel confident about that game just because of the fact that it's home and Carolina has not shown us anything that has not shown any proof that they can win on the road. They're 0-6, 0-5 on the road in this postseason. So they've not shown any teams any little bit of evidence that they can win on the road. Rangers have shown a lot that they can win at home. They're 5-1 this postseason at home. So if you get the job done tomorrow night, then you laid it all out there for Game 7. But it starts with tomorrow night. That's the focus, and Rangers got to bounce back, and we'll see how it all plays out. So that's what I got for the New York Rangers and the game that took place last night. Coming up next, we're going to get to the Yankees and the Mets. Nasty Nestor had another dominant performance. Mets open up a 3-game set tonight at Citi Field, fresh off the West Coast swing in Colorado for 3, in San Francisco for 3. And I will tell you why. Nasty Nestor right now, yet again, is the Cy Young frontrunner. And last night was just another example of how dominant he's been this season. And the Yankees continue to get it done, even with a lineup that's banged up. We'll also get to the Mets and get to their situation there with the pitching and along with the bats and the upcoming series against Philadelphia starting tonight at Citi Field. We'll get to that much more coming up next. All right, so welcome you back here up at the BSN podcast. It is Friday, May 27th. Just the start of Memorial Day weekend tonight. By the way, Yankees released their lineup. So let me read you their lineup for tonight's game, and then I'll look and see if the Mets released their lineup before we get to the Yankees and the Mets, because why not? So Yankees lineup tonight. Oh, Rays released theirs as well. So I'll read you the Yankees first. Judge leading off, playing center. Rizzo batting second, playing first. Torres third, playing second. Andujar is cleanup. He's playing left. Matt Carpenter, DH, batting fifth. Zay Connor-Flefa batting sixth, playing shortstop. Gallo in right, batting seventh. Higashioka is catching, batting eighth, and rounding out the order is Marwin Gonzalez batting ninth and playing third base. Rays is as followed. You got Kevin Kiermaier leading off and playing center. Yandy Diaz is at third and batting second. Playing shortstop, batting third, Wander Franco. Playing left field, batting fourth, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing first base, G-Man Choi. Batting sixth, playing right field is Harold Ramirez. Batting seventh, playing DH. Batting seventh and DHing is Manuel Margot. Vidal Brujan is the eighth hitter. He's batting second. And rounding out the order is Mike Zunino, and he will be catching tonight. And then Tyone will be on the mound for the Yankees, and Springs will be on the mound. Jeffrey, I believe his name is Jeffrey Springs. He'll be on the mound for the Rays. So that's your little Yankee preview tonight. And I find it funny, Matt Carpenter's in the lineup, who was in the lineup last night, and he's in the lineup again tonight. And it just shows you how much this Yankee team is getting the job done with a lot of pieces missing. As we all know, Stanton is on the IL with an ankle issue. It was first revealed as a calf problem. Then the Yankees said that it was an ankle issue. He's got some inflammation, so we're going to go with ankle. So he's out. And that's obviously a big bat out of lineup. Stan this season's been great. He's been one of the better hitters actually in all of baseball, batting .285 with an OPS of .862. He's knocked in this year 11 home runs and 35 RBIs, which 35 RBIs is good for second on the team. And he's tied for second on the team in home runs at 11. Judge is obviously way up there leading the league with 17 home runs. He's got the team lead by 6 with 17. He's been the team's best player this year, no doubt. Batting, you can make the argument Nestor Cortez has been one of the best players on the Yankees and the best pitcher in all baseball. We'll get to him in a second. But just reading that Yankee lineup, and I'm going to pull it back up again because I find it hilarious. And the Yankees, and I don't find it hilarious meaning like I think it's a bad lineup, but the Yankees are getting it done with all these pieces missing. LeMahieu's been out with a wrist. He's not in the IL, but he's been hurt. I think the Yankees are trying their best to avoid putting him on the IL just because of how much of a loss it is for the team, but he's been out. Stanton is out now with the Yankees. He's on the 10-day IL. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be a quick stint, so he'll be back soon. So you got to bring in guys, like Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter, who used to be very good. He's an infielder, very good player. He had a very good career with the Cardinals. Was he on that Cardinals World Series team? I'm not sure. I think he might have been. But a very good player, a veteran, a guy who was very good. Now, last season, I think he batted like 186 with them. Much older now, not the same player he once was. Way out of his prime. Yankees bring him in now, and he looks like a guy that should be... He looks like a lumberjack with the mustache. He always had the beard with St. Louis. As we all know, Yankees, no facial hair. You can have a mustache, no facial hair. I believe it might be anything under... No beards, none of that. You can have a mustache, but no beards. As we all know how the Yankees facial hair thing is, and it's always funny seeing the guys when they come over. And when we first signed Matt Carpenter, my big thing was, what is he going to look like without the beard? And... not that processed through my head right away, but, then you start seeing people on Bleacher Report comment like, oh, I wonder what he looks like because he's had a beard his entire career, and then he shaved it all off and he's got a mustache now. So it's definitely an interesting look. You had Odor last year who shaved off his beard, looked completely different. You had Isaiah Connor-Falefa who going into the season had a beard, ended up shaving it off due to the Yankees' hair policy. He looked a lot different. Obviously, we've all kind of gotten used to it at this point. But, you look at this lineup, and it's like Marwin Gonzalez, who is not your everyday player. He's kind of been in that role. Now you have Matt Carpenter DHing. You have, Joey Gallo playing right field and Andujar being all of a sudden your everyday left fielder and, center fielder being Judge now as Hicks has been out of lineup because he stinks. It's crazy where this Yankee team is at right now, and yet they continue to win. And that's the best part, is that they just beat the Rays last night with a lineup that is not nearly close to the lineup that we all envisioned going into this year. I mean, Donaldson's out, LeMahieu's out, Stanton's out. Those are some big bats that are out of the lineup, and the Yankees are still getting the job done. And there's going to be stretches throughout the season where you go through, maybe you hit a little bit of a, maybe a road bump in terms of the injuries, in terms of maybe wins and losses. Yankees have hit the road bump of injuries and guys missing, but they were able to take 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. They have won the first game of the 4-game set in Tampa against the Rays. I mean, you look at this Yankee team, this Yankee team just finds ways to win. And I think that's my favorite part is this Yankee team not always is the flashiest. They're not always out there scoring 10, 15 runs. Sometimes there's nights where they score 3 runs and they rely on their pitching. But they find ways to win. And they did that again last night. The big bats came through. Rizzo came through. Judge came through. Trevino came through. Matt Carpenter had 2 runs scored. He scored the first run for the Yankees last night. Guys that you would not expect to come through other than Judge and Rizzo. But even Trevino is a guy who's been really heating up, one of the hottest players on the team right now. Recently, we all know he had the walk-off against Baltimore, had the single last night. He's been really been hitting the ball really well. And if he continues to hit that way, I know Higashioka's in the lineup tonight, but if Trevino continues to hit like he does and plays defense like he does, he's going to take the starting job completely away from Higgy. And I'm okay with that because he's a great player. I have nothing against Higgy, but Trevino's been hitting the ball very well recently. Players like him behind the plate, very good defensively. And I think the Yankees right now feel, you got to put the hottest bat out there. And I know they put Higgy in tonight, but Trevino's been excellent. A guy who we picked up about a week before the season started, and he now finds himself in a role where he's been coming up big in games. So you gotta love it. I mean, you gotta love the tough, the grittiness, and the pitching's been phenomenal. I mean, Nasty Nestor last night was dealing, and I mean, this is a Rays line. I mean, this isn't no Rays team that we're talking about. This isn't a Rays team that we're talking about that's 3 games above 500, or a Blue Jays team that's off to a slow start. This is a Rays team that is 8 games above 500, and going into last night's game was only 4.5 games back in the East. Now, they're obviously 5.5 back with the loss last night, but this isn't no team that's underachieving. This is a Rays team that is still 8 games above 500, one of the better teams in the American League. And right now, if the season would end today, they would host a wild card game right now against the Angels if the season would end today. So, to say that the Rays are not a good team is completely false. They're a very good team. And to go into the game last night with a lineup that the Yankees rolled out there, they were able to get the win. Nasty Nestor was dominant for 8 innings. And then to roll out the same lineup tonight, and you got Tyone on the mound, who, by the way, this season has pitched to a phenomenal 2.95 ERA with a win-loss record of 4-1. You got to love what you're seeing. And this Yankee team just continues to find ways to win. And you know how I feel about Nasty Nestor. I mean, last night, yet again, putting in the work, locating, high, low, painting the corners, outside, inside, mixing up his speeds of how he delivers, throwing a pitch at 92, then going sidearm and releasing it and throwing it in at 81, 11-mile-an-hour difference. I mean, he's just so much fun to watch. He's such a great player. He's right now got to be the Cy Young frontrunner. I mean, there's no doubt. He's got to be. And last night was another dominant performance. So this Yankee team continues to find ways to win. 19 games above 500, hold the best record in baseball by far, and the second best record in baseball right now currently is the Mets with 29. I apologize. Dodgers currently hold the second best record in baseball at 30-14. Yankees obviously 32-13, and the Yankees now find themselves on a 3-game win streak, 6-4 in their last 10, and just beat a very good Rays team last night. And they're doing it with a lineup that is kind of all over the place with the pieces missing, but the pieces are stepping up. And Duhar had another big hit last night. He's been very good. If he continues to hit the way he does, forget about Hicks. Forget about Hicks. If Stan comes back, forget about Gallo and Hicks. You put Stan in right, Judge in center, and Duhar in left. That might be your outfield right there. So Yankees are finding ways to win. Get another win last night, and they got another big game tonight. Look to take second game of the 4-game set. And as for the Mets, coming off a little bit of a rougher West Coast trip, but a team that also going into a big homestand here. Before the road trip started, another team too that continues to find ways to win as well without their 2 best pitchers in Scherzer and DeGrom. And, obviously they struggled against the Giants, losing 2 out of 3. They obviously won the first game 13-3, blew the second game 13-12, and then lost the third game 9-3. Now, the issue is just trying to figure out that next guy now that Scherzer's out. And Scherzer is going to be out until after the All-Star break, so that's until mid to late July. He'll be out until after the All-Star break. DeGrom, who knows when he's coming back. I mean, he's thrown a little bit, but he's also got to still throw off a mound. He's also still got to, up his velocity a little bit. He's got to be a little bit more... Sorry about that. My phone was lagging here. I had to get my page back up. But was still... with Scherzer, he's still a ways out, right? Scherzer's still a ways out. He is going to be out until most likely after the All-Star break, which 6 to 8 weeks will be after the All-Star break. DeGrom, like I said, kind of throwing a little bit, not to a crazy extent. He'll most likely be out for at least another couple weeks here. I mean, who knows what? I'd say maybe mid to late June, if anything, which would be about 2 to 3 weeks. But now you start a series at home, and the Mets' schedule here. This is kind of the last part of their schedule until it gets really, really tough. You got a game obviously tonight at home against the Phillies. So you have 3 games tonight 3 games starting tonight, Friday through Sunday against Philly. Then you'll have 3 against the Nationals Monday through Wednesday, and then you'll head out on a West Coast trip. Starting on Thursday through Sunday of next week will be the Mets Dodgers, and then it will be the Mets at Padres, and then the Mets at Angels. So you will have a stretch where from Thursday all the way until June 12th, which is a Sunday, that will be another Sunday night game, they will have 10 games in a row, and they will all be against teams above 500. Dodgers 16 games above 500, Padres are 12 games above 500, and the Angels are 8 games above 500. So you will be going up against teams that are very good. This stretch of the Mets have a brutal month of June, because then you go play the Brewers, then you come back home, you play the Brewers for 3, then the Marlins, who are beatable. Then you have the Astros in Houston for 2 games. Then the Marlins again. Then the Astros again for 2 games. And then you even get into July, and July starts to ease up a little bit. You have the Texas Rangers, the Reds, the Marlins again. But June is you're going to learn a lot about this Met team come June. And you really are, because you're going to have the Dodgers for 4, Padres for 3, Angels for 3, and boom, you're done with the West Coast trip, and then you come home and you're like, oh gosh, we got the Brewers for 3. Brewers, a team who right now stand at 23 games above 500, and they stand atop the NL Central, up by 4.5 games on the Cardinals. So Mets got to really come together as a group, and they got to continue to battle and continue to fight, because if you are going to win division, you're going to win, the NL in National League, and you're going to do great things in the postseason, you're going to have to beat teams like the Brewers. You're going to have to beat teams like the Dodgers. You're going to have to beat teams like the Padres. And you're going to get a good test of that coming up. So you got 6 games here. These are very important 6 games. Because let's say the Mets go 2-4 in these 6 games and go into the West Coast trip stumbling, and you come out of the West Coast trip just getting absolutely beat up, you're going to be in a real issue. So these 6 games, although on paper they might not look big, although the Phillies is always a good series, Nationals kind of looks like a 3-game series that maybe isn't that big. You want to go into that West Coast trip on a high note, because you can't go stumbling into that West Coast trip, because you're going to come out of that West Coast trip in a whole lot of chaos if you don't get going. So really big couple games coming up for the Mets. They have a lot of cushion in the NL East. That's why these games against these beatable opponents, Phillies 3 games below 500, and Nationals, who are 14 games below 500, against teams like that, these are the games you got to take advantage of. So coming off a tough series loss against the Giants, we'll see what they can do tonight. Their pitching's the biggest thing. If they can find a way to get out of that West Coast trip and against that Brewers, in that stretch of games against the Brewers, above 500 and still got a good lead, above 500 through all those games, and still got a good lead against in the NL East, still be in a good position. But I feel like the Mets season now is just starting to begin, and so is the Yankees. The Yankees and Mets, very similar situations. The month of April and all the month of May was pretty easy. Now you really get into the tough matchups. Yankees, now you got 7 games here. Yankees have 6 more, obviously 3 more against the Rays, and you have 3 against the Angels. Now this is where things start to get tougher, and this is really where you find a lot out about teams. And this is going right into the All-Star break, June and into July, as we all know. So we'll see how that plays out. Both New York baseball's teams still above 500, and both continue to go out and win games. All right, so let's get to the New York Sports Update. Talked about the matchup tonight for the Yankees. For the Mets, you got Falter and Carlos Carrasco on the mound. Falter's 0-1 with a 3.75 ERA. Carrasco's 4-1 with 3.50. Over-under set at 8.5. This game goes on tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern. You can find out Pix 11. Mets are 29-17. Phillies are 21-24. Other games tonight in baseball: Reds, Giants, Nationals, Rockies, Tigers, Guardians, Red Sox, Orioles, Braves, Marlins, Twins, Royals, Brewers, Cardinals, Angels, Blue Jays, Marlins, Astros, Dodgers, D-backs, Padres, Pirates, Rangers, A's. NHL, you got the Blues Avalanche tonight, Game 6 of that series. And as for the NBA, you got the Celtics Heat tonight back at TD Garden. All right. As for fantasy baseball, I'm winning in both leagues. In my main league, I'm winning 184-114. So going good there. And in my other league, I'm winning 172-72. My other league, let's see here. So LeMahieu's out of the lineup again. So I got to put Yuli Gurriel in there. Yeah, that's what I'm going to roll with. And as for my pitching, I got Carlos Rodon, Trevor Rogers. And as for my fantasy baseball, my other league, my main league, I got Carlos Rodon and Zach Eflin going tonight. So I picked up Eflin because Scherzer was out. He had a really good performance last time out, so I'm going with him back again, going with him again tonight. So we'll see how all that plays out. But anyway, that will do it for the podcast here today. Good podcast here on a Friday. Time to wrap things up, get ready for the Yankee game, and hope for another win, game 2 of the 4-game set tonight. So that will do it. As always, I take breaks on the weekends. As you all know, I have my Bubs Talking Baseball podcast. You can find that on iTunes and Apple Podcast. So if you're interested in that will be on Sunday. But for the regular All Sports Pod here on YouTube, I will see you on the flip side. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy it. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.